right. Nice. Good bumper music selection, Dave. Nicely done. Good afternoon, everybody, and welcome to another episode of What's Going On in There. I'm Stephen Tomlinson with Level 7 Facility Services, and I'm joined by my exceptionally good-looking and ever good-natured co-hosts, Dave Hollister and Angie Russell. This is the podcast where we take a peek behind the curtain of some of Atlanta's most intriguing businesses and speak to business leaders from around the metro area to hear all about their stories of how they came to be where they are, where it is that they're heading next, their victories, challenges, and lessons learned along the way. So, before we introduce our esteemed guest of the show today, Dave and Angie, Dave, let's start with the jacket. Dave, you have a special piece of attire, and I feel like we need to talk about what's going on over there.
I do, and I'm glad you're acting like you don't know about it. But I am a champion.
Yes, he is.
I went on a golf tournament this past weekend with 23 of my closest friends. We had 3 out of 4 birdies coming in.
Wow.
Hit a 30-foot putt, the very last putt of the entire tournament, to win it.
Wow.
And it was beautiful.
That's fantastic. Nice work.
Right.
It's your color, too. I don't know what it is. It could be, I don't know, what do you call it? A taupe tweed or something like that. It's good. Good look.
It's good looking.
It's neutral.
Taupe
Neutral color.
tweed.
So. Is that right? Is that wrong? I don't know.
I think that's more plaid.
Angie, what's going on? It's been kind of crazy here. We're in the dog days of summer. Kids are back in school, and COVID's going crazy, and I don't know.
Bees and hornets.
Murder hornets.
Yeah, I got bit by one last Friday.
Did you really?
A murder
It's
hornet?
still, that last Friday,
Wow.
it's
Holy
still
crap.
healing. And I'm not even allergic.
Wow.
Watch out.
Yeah. Okay. It's nasty out there. It's a crazy world.
Rub some dirt on it.
Yeah.
Exactly.
So, without further ado, I would like to introduce today's bold guest for joining us, Chris Maier. Chris is the founder of Contractors, Closers, and Connections, otherwise known as the CCC, and began the first chapter in 2019 here in Atlanta. He currently serves as a commercial real estate development industry, as Director of Acquisitions at the Montalto Group. Formerly served as Director of Business Development at Cooper & Company General Contractors, and also serves on the board at Mentor Me in North Forsyth, as well as the EV Hotel Group, and formerly served as Vice President of Hands Across Atlanta, a nonprofit dedicated to providing resources for success to underprivileged children and helping veterans receive professional resources to help them get back on their feet. You've done a lot, Chris. That's a mouthful.
Thanks for that intro.
Yeah, man. Thanks for joining us. And so let's. I want to hear more about the CCC to start with. I mean, it seems like in a very short time you guys have developed a huge membership, and so it started here in Atlanta.
It did, yes. And first of all, thank you guys for having me on. I really appreciate
Absolutely.
it. So CCC started, like you said, back in 2019. I was in the commercial demolition industry at the time. And through that capacity, I'd met a lot of end users in Atlanta. We worked on a lot of large projects to include Atlantic Station and taking down parking garages at Emory, even the Georgia Cyclone at Six Flags. So in that capacity, really great, built my network. Started our first event after going to many a networking event and realized that there was a demand for a better class of networking association. And there's a lot that are still in existence today that you'll find are very specific to just general contractors or just architects, engineers, nothing that was very eclectic, that had real estate at the pinnacle of it. Most of the developers, the brokers, the owners, reps, property managers, and people funding the equity, the debt, all the things that are needed to create the eventual deal, the consummation of a transaction. So I held my first event and just started calling people up one day and said, if I do this, would you come? And it was immensely successful. I took a big risk of looking like a fool and, had about 200 people there of all shapes and sizes, verticals, from general contractors, subcontractors, material suppliers, and it was pretty much open invite back then. From there, having that success of sponsors and the folks that attended, we started doing events monthly, and then kind of here we are today. It's a little bit more privatized, but I'll stop there because I don't want to talk.
That's it's great. And you're talking about you stick your neck out and you don't know, you've got this vision and nobody else. Maybe it catches, maybe it doesn't.
And it still happens every month. Trust me.
Yeah.
Who knows if this next event's going to be a success? But we've got a really good base now.
Yeah.
Good base of quality sponsors, quality supporters, and the real estate firms that come on that most folks are there wanting to meet is changing every day and growing, because nobody wants to go to the same events and see the same people. They want to meet new folks, and I'm so proud of those folks that are coming on, that return, and that are new, that we air them out. If you look at our social media pages and website, it's like, well, why should I come? And it's like, because of these folks who are going to be there.
Yeah.
And we put out just on our website that we just launched some of our frequent flyers that have RSVP'd and come in 2021, and it's just significant. You don't see these companies coming out anywhere else.
Yeah.
So it's a great sense of pride.
So that's very cool. And so you founded CCC in 2019.
Yes.
And you grew the chapter here. I know you guys have a total membership. It's a pretty impressive number. I mean, how many people are involved now?
Several thousand.
Yeah.
Really, the hardest part is how do you get that top? Like every event is dependent on the venue. So we're kind of averaging 200, 250. We want it still to have that intimate feel. And it also goes by a certain percentage of, like, we'll have our sponsors who are general contractors and subs and architects, and that really comprises about 10% of the audience. So our first invites, it's very strategic. It goes out to those end users, developers, partners, economic development. Then we trickle down and make sure to put in some of our best architects and engineers and folks all in between.
Yeah, that's cool. How do you do you have a target sort of ratio for the members of the primary members of the group and the vendors who are there to sponsor and get to know the members?
So that's about 10%, which is very different from most associations. It's could be 50-50
right.
sometimes. We want to protect their interests. If we, like, for instance, we're really wanting to cap the number of general contractors that support this large audience now of maybe 4 or 5. As long as they got a couple options, and then the rest of the conversations that we want going on are really commercial real estate centric. So people have a good engagement while they're at the physical events.
Yeah, that's cool. I mean, the three of us can vouch for the fact that there are a lot of organizations. You attend an event and you're looking at a bunch of vendors around the table, and there's it's easy to get away from you, I think, if you don't keep an eye on that.
And the privatized feature I was talking about now is back then in 2019, we said, as long as you're in the commercial industry, you can come. You're welcome. But ever since that day, it had been a concise effort of how do we make this more exclusive to make sure those folks will come out and not feel like it's just a vendor experience. And so we may have one exclusive office furniture vendor to the whole CCC, and that protects them, and then we don't invite other office furniture vendors to protect their interests.
That's cool. So another little end piece of your resume, your education. So Georgia Southern I'm familiar with. I'm from South Georgia.
Yeah.
But the University of the Rockies I wasn't familiar with. Where is that one?
That is in Colorado Springs.
Cool.
Yeah.
Great place
so
to be.
Did an online MBA in business, and thought that piece of paper was important at the time. Looking back at it, it's like, I wish I hadn't done most all of it, but it was a good thing.
It doesn't hurt.
No, it can't hurt.
Yeah, that's right. I got an English degree, and I never thought for a second that I was going to be like in academics or anything. It's just like, I don't know. I speak English and I write English, so whatever I do, I'll use it somehow.
Right.
That's cool. So if you could go back in time when you're first starting off in your career, what advice would you give yourself then?
I've thought about that a lot. When I guess one of my first official jobs coming out of college was in the fitness business. I just always like the positive energy that people experience at gyms and how they want to increase their wellness and all that good stuff mentally and physically. And so I started at these 24-hour box gyms, and I would always have these really great conversations with people, whether it's out in the community when I was spreading the word about a new club that was opening up and creating partnerships, which is still something I do to this day. So even 10 years back, whenever that was, I would go to banks, I would go to different places, but I never really kept a database, is what I would tell my younger self, is like write notes about just all these great interactions you had with people and never lose touch with them.
Right.
That's so important to me today, is all the people that I talked to and things that we discussed, whether it be business, personal, whatever, that database is power. You can bring people together in many different ways, but you can't do that if you've never recorded it and have that intentionality behind it.
Yeah, that's true. That's good. So,
I was just going to say, so what gym do you go to?
Now I go to just one local part. Yeah. So it's like 60 seconds away. You can't ignore it. You drive by it every day.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
That's cool. Do you still box sometimes?
No.
Nah.
No boxing, just me and the wife.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's a good answer.
Yeah.
There you go. Well, tell me how we always ask our guests this. It's a bit of a generic question, but especially now with COVID numbers doing what they're doing, it's kind of back to the forefront of everyone's mind. How did the pandemic change your industry, your job in specific?
Yeah, so the industry definitely changed. There was that period there that I would say for the first 3-4 months that people wanted to feel this out, do the right thing, stay inside, be as safe as possible to protect the interests of everybody's wellness and businesses. And then I think just people started to say, well, if you want to get out and you're low risk to this virus, which is typically 99.9% survivable to healthy individuals, and people that know they're high risk don't have to come out to the events. So
right.
For my personal business in the CCC, we were the only organization in all of Atlanta that went out and just said, we're going to have state-of-the-art technology, fever monitoring software. It's going to scan people as they come in. We'll have masks. We'll have sanitizer. I mean, did everything that you could possibly do to hold a safe event, made it outdoors, open air. And we did events monthly, really starting from June of 2020 onward, and then moved more into the internal events where it didn't have to be open air. It was a combination of a mixed-use development. So I absorbed all the market share in Atlanta, all the real estate associations, everybody, and while they were not doing it, we started 3 separate, now total of 4 CCC chapters during the pandemic.
Oh, wow.
Yes.
No kidding. So you got Atlanta, Tampa,
Orlando, and Richmond.
Wow.
Yeah, Richmond's our newest. But it's just they're all doing incredibly well. They're ramping up, doing monthly. Again, when I started, we were doing them quarterly, and especially Richmond, they have a wonderful, just high quality member base that I think is going to be really incredible. So they're all doing great. I'm trying to support them in whatever way that I can and teach them what I've learned throughout this whole experience.
Well, that's so. It sounds like CCC is your day job. Is that the truth or no?
CCC, so what it is now, guys, is now that I work as Director of Acquisitions for Montalto Group, we're a real estate development investment firm that was started in Boston, Massachusetts. So I've been selected to head up acquisitions and finding good pieces of dirt for multifamily developments and various mixed use, here in the Atlanta area and southeast and primary markets. So what the CCC is now is it's a deal hub. It's a place where for instance, there was an environmental consultant that if we had the CCC and this network in place and these monthly meetings, they showed us a site in Mississippi that's of great interest to us. And we would have not known that if it weren't for that secondary connection, through that consultant that's testing the soils and that's on site. So whether it's them, joint venture development partners that we'll partner with, or the brokers, that's probably the largest composition of my network, is the brokers that are in the middle of the transactions that are showing us all the properties first before anybody else. We want to say thank you, come out to the event, meet other developers and other folks. So it's just a big appreciation day. And I'm like, just come for free. I don't care.
Yeah.
It's not about the money. It's about the right fit and having that experience that's second to none.
Are you guys seeing the multifamily still just super red hot and everybody
incredible?
Tons
in
of
every
money still
market.
going into it, and it's not slowing down, is it?
No, because you come across you asked about like how the industry overall is doing during pandemic, and now that we're kind of on the outskirts and on the outside of it, the construction costs are still up. There's labor shortages, and problems with permits being expedited and things of that nature. But when you think about the occupancy and all that, by the time some of these developments are done, it's going to be a 2-year construction process. We'll be well and done with this. So you best get started now while the market's good. And you just got to know, you got to run the numbers and say the juice is worth the squeeze or it's not.
Right.
You know?
Yeah. So we talked briefly before we fired up the mics here, and I had a couple of questions, and then it was like, let's just save it for the show. But I didn't get where you're from. Where did you originally grow up?
Born in New York just as a baby, but raised in the Atlanta area, sort of that South Forsyth area. And total coincidence that I would go to work for a construction firm that was in Forsyth County where I went to high school. And so it just seemed like home. I was very familiar with that area and supporting that community and doing business there. Just happened to be in that commercial construction capacity. So,
very cool. Very cool. And then wound up in Statesboro.
Yes.
Yeah.
The borough, very humid, lots of bugs.
Yeah. I grew up in Waycross, so it's well below the gnat line down there.
Yep.
Yes, sir. So if somebody wants to get involved with the CCC, we started the website. That's a good place to go.
That is a good place to go. They can learn a lot about it through there. Again, we just launched it, still adding new chapters to it and everything, but in its most basic sense, got a couple tabs. It'll show us a means to contact us, and I'm happy to speak to anybody about it with questions. We're always typically welcoming new sponsors and new developers and folks in real estate. We like to, vet and screen people and see how we can help each other. And there's certain questions that I could typically ask somebody within a 2 to 5 minute time frame to really see if they're a good fit or not,
right? And
see maybe how I can help them. And I'm trying to make this the most authentic organization out there. There's a lot of developers, architects, contractors, and people of the like, property managers that may promise you work and things of that nature, but I'd almost encourage the people within the CCC to be very authentic and either say, look, you're just not a good fit.
Right.
It's just, you're you don't have enough experience in this particular moment. And hopefully both parties can appreciate that. There's so much of that going on where they're just leading you on, and I don't want CCC to be like that. So I try to coach people to be like that. Just say, maybe let's check back in 6 months. Maybe that's an interesting reply and give them permission to stay in touch. But that's what I'm all about, and that's what I want the rest of the culture to feel throughout CCC, is that genuineness.
Yeah, that's cool. So basically anybody who is it operates in and around the real estate world, and it could be residential, commercial development, and is there a niche focus there, or it's just kind of real estate in general?
Real estate in general, we like all the market sectors. We want it to be diverse, from hospitality to industrial to a full mixed use. So all of them are very valuable. So the architects that are designing them, to the designers of the insides to them, to the zoning attorneys, to of course the money. Money is important. We like the equity and the debt guys and the lenders. You follow the money, it'll create a deal. We like the people in local government, economic development, that are going to help with the incentives to go into a particular tax incentive zone and maybe show us some opportunities we didn't know about before. All those types of people are great. The commissioners, council people. We brought on a lot of different political figures, from gubernatorial candidates to just giving them all a platform. We brought conservative, liberal, everybody on, just to give them it's like, hey, if you like what they had to say, go talk to them afterwards. These are the policies they just discussed about commercial real estate and construction that are going to affect you. We've given a lot of that platform, from senators to congressmen, future. Yeah. That's
incredible. I mean, and you put all this together in a little over 2 years?
Yeah, I took it's 2-3 years now. Took the nuances from what everybody else was doing and just tried to make it a little bit better and put a face to the organization. You hear all these acronyms of AGC, ABC, AIA, but it's just this name. There's really nobody attributed to it. So that's why we create a chapter president, and then you can create a associated board of directors that support and help with outreach and stuff like that. But it's good to have that person step up there, tell people what the organization's about, especially if they're new to an event, and then also tell them what is in store for the future.
Yeah. Did this thing grow faster than you thought it would?
It did.
Yeah.
I mean, it certainly did. Yeah.
It's it seems like it's you're onto something that could really go really big potentially.
We hope so. I mean, that is the goal, is to have a big major chapter in every major city from coast to coast. So if there's a developer, if there's a broker, they can call up CCC or the chapter presidents in that board in California and say, look, we're very interested in the Inland Empire and we want to develop there. And it just happened to me in Richmond. When I was up there, I said, if I can leave with 2 contacts out of there, and I told the guy what I was looking to source up as far as properties, and lo and behold, he sent us a really great property in Richmond. And I was like, this is a wonderful property. It must not come across very often. So it's a time, place, opportunity type of thing. You either seize it or you don't. But having that resource is wonderful.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And you continue to build out the network, and
I'll tell you the secret, though.
Yeah.
That most people aren't willing to do. It's spending the time, because you have to take care of your current network,
right?
Your current customers, whatever it may be, and then ask them that golden question of how do we help each other? How do I help you? And once I understand that, we like to take the folks who do frequent the events and say, well, this is a person we may refer that you should talk to, and then the art of it really comes into, not only are they a good fit, logically, yes, this firm does medical office work and we're going to connect you with a medical office developer, but the art of it is, where does their energy and their personalities align? Right. That's what I look for. That's the third channel that really makes things special.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's cool.
And a lot of folks aren't willing to dedicate that time, but that's what maximizes. You got to really think. When you take somebody to lunch or you have a phone call with them or something like that, how many times do you really touch base with them again after that? So if you don't maximize that encounter, it's like you may not talk to them for another year or ever.
Right.
So, hopefully you can just lend such immense value to somebody upon first encounter that they never forget about you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think that's great advice.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's cool. Well, I can imagine, 2 years ago, and you tell me, but you got this idea, and I, just from the first time I met you at a Gwinnett Chamber event, whenever that was, I was like, this guy is gregarious. He gets out and meets people. I mean, you approached me, you got in front of me, and obviously a personable person. You can just tell you got that energy as soon as you meet you. So you obviously you had this idea. You know that you're good at connecting people. You're good at doing what you do on that front. And I'm assuming you're thinking, I'll put something together in Atlanta, and this is going to help my professional network.
Sure. Yep.
And it seems like it's kind of, I don't know, it's gotten turned into its own big deal real quick.
Yeah, I mean, even in the demo, but especially recently in the general contracting world, if you change the dynamic of your pitch and your outreach, and you have this I was very lucky to have this wonderful platform behind me and this network that people come to see, and they can look on the LinkedIn, they can see it on social, but instead of saying, please, Mr. Developer, Mr. End User, give me your general contracting work, I'll do anything. It was like, why don't you just come out to this event, meet a lot of like-minded folks, have a cigar, have a drink, just get to know me. I don't care if we even do business. We may never do business, right. But I want to be able to hook them up with a lot of other folks in the network, and they see a lot of value to that.
Yeah.
It's not just give me.
Right.
There's just so many of that give, take, and I was always the go-giver, as they say. There's a lot of books about it.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
I've never heard that. The go-giver.
It's a wonderful book series. Yes.
Yeah, that's cool. Well, that is true. I mean, if you put it out there, it's around world. It comes back to you. There's no doubt. But
that's it.
It's sometimes it can be hard to remember that in the grind when you wake up and you're like, I have this thing I need to do. But if you find yourself thinking about what I can do for other people, yeah, for sure, it comes back.
Yeah, hopefully a lot of people have that intrinsic sort of motivation behind them. I think a lot of people do. It's kind of built into us as human beings. But, I knew when I would wake up in the morning, it was what got me up, is to connect people, to grow the CCC, and then, when I fell asleep at night, I was thinking about it. And I was like, so that's the dream right there. I was like, there was just things I knew I didn't want to do, so that's why I'm very happy now to be passing out my cards, and I am more aggressive now than ever. You can believe that. When I go out to other networking events, the other day I got mad because I feel like people have forgotten the value or just how to network. So I go to places, yes, to hear some speakers. They were talking about development of retail and malls, and great concept, right? Good speakers. But for that first 30 minutes to an hour is really why I'm there. It's to meet people. And they're sitting in their chairs. They just paid $7,500, whatever it is, to go to this event. and assumingly they want to meet people, right? That's why you're there. And they're sitting in their chairs on their phones, and I'm pulling them out of their chairs, like physically, just being like, you, and I'm just, get up. We're gonna talk. Here's my card. Give me yours. I see your name tag. I like you. Let's do some business. I mean, I just have zero fear about it, and I want to break their fear down as well, because I've just done this over and over and over, and it's like, all right, let's get past this. Let's be friends. Let's figure out how to do some business. That's it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, you're an impressive guy, and you seem like one of those guys that a rare person who is well suited for the thing that they're doing, and it pays off for you. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm very excited for the future.
All right, on. Very good. Very good. Well, so we like to ask a bunch of random questions, and I'm going off script here because I think we're out of the ones that we've done before. So Dave and Angie, you guys want to take part in the speed round here? Exactly. Is that a yes?
Sure.
Oh, sure. Why not? We'll have some fun. All right.
Let's
do it. Here we go. All right, we're going to start with you, Chris. These guys are going to need some time to
rock and roll.
We're a little slow over here.
So, the best book you've read in the last couple of years?
I believe it, Unstoppable.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's about the Michael Jordan story and his trainer that I never knew. Do you know his name?
No, but I'm familiar with the book.
So I exchanged a book between a commercial real estate guy in Atlanta. He gave me Unstoppable. Just incredible. It talks about being a cleaner, like Michael Jordan was, how he just separated himself as this professional, just kept his head down. They call him a cleaner because you give a guy a broom and he goes and sweeps and does all this work and spends time in the gym and developing himself while nobody's watching, and then just becomes this phenom, and does whatever it takes. And it's all about sacrifice. And I sacrifice a lot to be the best.
Yeah, very cool.
Yeah.
Very, very cool. Angie, best meal you've had in the past month?
Oh,
Man, I was thinking about a book.
yeah. I threw you off.
But I can't read. It's an easy one for me.
Exactly.
The best meal? Oh, goodness. When I was in Costa Rica, gosh, everything. But their ceviche that they make there,
Oh, man.
It will knock you out of your chair. It's
Right
so
on.
good.
Okay, I'm ready to go to Costa Rica.
Yeah.
Dave, Beatles or Stones?
Stones, no
I
doubt.
knew that. That is a layup right there. A layup. Dave,
Oh, my goodness.
fish show or panic show?
I'm a panic guy.
Okay, all right. I've seen you at a fish show. I don't know have we ever been to a panic show together? Sure we have. At some point, maybe.
Yeah, probably back in the day.
Yeah.
I think so.
At some point.
Yep.
Well, my brain's not working well on speed round now. I'm running out of questions. All right, how about this one? This is one that I think is kind of interesting. Can you think of a time, Chris, when in your career that somebody really gave you a chance and you weren't sure that you deserved it, but you took advantage of it?
Yeah, I would say it was in the demolition business, because I didn't know a lick about demolition. I didn't know how to estimate it. Didn't know anything. I just came in with a good personality and said, I don't take flack from anybody.
Mm-hmm.
I said, I'm going to go into any building. I'm going to talk to anybody, and I'll learn it. And he said, no, that's the most important thing. And all the employees were reluctant. They're like, why are you hiring this guy? And he doesn't know anything about the field. And I said, but I know people, and that's what's important. And they had already made preconceptions about certain clients and things like that. And I said, I'm going to make my own perceptions about them. I'm going to go meet with them, show up on site, and be the guy that shows up and does everything for these clients. And I just scooped in and secured this big book of business in the demolition field. So that was what I would say.
That's cool.
Yeah.
I believe that. Well, it looks like our time is coming to a close here, guys. Does anybody?
No.
Do we have any nuggets we got to leave in this recording before we call it a wrap? That's nugget enough. I don't know.
Right. That's a wrap.
Yeah, I think that might be a wrap. Yeah. So let's see here. What are we doing? We'll be back next month, right? Yeah. We're not sure if the show will just keep getting better and better. We are. What is it? We're a CIP. What did it seems like I just heard a consultant say. continuation in progress or something like that. Or continually improving. Anyway, yeah, we just keep getting better. That's what I'm trying to say here.
Agree.
So with that, Chris, thank you very much for doing this.
Thanks,
Really
Chris.
appreciate it.
Thank you guys for having
me.
me.
It's good to hear all about your story, and look forward to seeing you around. And best of luck to you and everything. It's really cool what you got going on there.
Thank you guys so much. I really appreciate it.
Yes,
Very impressive.
Thanks a bunch. Angie, would you like to read us out?
Sure. Thank you for joining us on What's Going On in There, presented by Level 7 Facility Services. Be sure to join us for the live broadcast every month here on Business RadioX. If you missed the live broadcast, no worries. You can enjoy the show anytime by visiting businessradiox.com, selecting the Gwinnett Studio, and then clicking on What's Going On in There. This program is also available on iTunes, iHeartRadio, Spotify, or wherever you enjoy your favorite podcasts. Please be sure to subscribe to our shows so you don't miss any of our future episodes. For my co-hosts, Dave Hollister, Stephen Tomlinson, and guest Chris Maier, I'm Angie Russell with Level 7 Facility Services, and you've been listening to What's Going On in There on Business Radio X.